Hi, everybody. I This is going to be a very fast live. I would say go ahead and download this, take screenshots, do what you need to do. I was asked to try to clean up some of the North Hercules #2, the snipers that were on the North building. And I've kind of been like just consumed with it. And I just kept going back to, I do have the sniper video, but I kept going back to this runner that, the new video that we got from the guy that got shot, correct? It just looked wrong. It just looked, something just doesn't look right. And so I kept going back to that while I was trying to focus on the shooter thing, the sniper, North Hercules sniper. And I think it's far more interesting that a minute 38 seconds before the bullets, the sniper team turned, right? And we have this going down just 2 minutes and 14 seconds. So I'm sorry, 4 minutes and 16 seconds. It was 2 minutes and 44 seconds before the bullets rang out. So you have this occur 2 minutes and 44 seconds before the bullets. You have your sniper team turn at 1 minute 38 seconds. And I kept going back to this, and I kept thinking, can we get the shooter running? Like the person that's running, can I get to pull it out and see who it is? I don't know who it is, but it looks female. So it looks female, looks blonde, looks like sunglasses. But then I played with it for a few more hours, and hold on. And then I get this. And that's military, right? That's a helmet. So, don't know what's happening. Don't know what it means. But I think it's important. And I think everybody should take screenshots and download it, and everybody have it, is what I think. So, I can go to I'll go ahead and go to my Canva, because there's going to be, of course, obviously there's going to be trolls that come out, and they're going to say, what is this? You're trying to trick people. No, no, I'm not. This is what it is. I don't have the skills to trick people. I don't know. My training has nothing to do with technology and computers and video graphics and nothing. So this is the picture that I was able to get and clean up. But I can change it, move it, do all kinds of other things that we might want to do to it. Guess I could try. It's definitely military or SWAT, right? We do have a militarized police force now that do dress like SWAT. So that was the local picture that I have that I was working on. And then if I could share. And, let me be clear too. You don't have to agree, right? You don't have to agree and tell me I'm right or I'm wrong, or tell me that I'm a liar. Why do you want to do all that? I'm just showing you, but you can go to your own editing software. You can isolate it and find it all on your own. That's all. I'm just putting out information that I think is really important, because we are really getting some crazy conflicting information. And we live in a free nation. We're not living back behind the Iron Curtain. We're not living in North Korea, where our government is Lord, God, and King. That is not where we live. And I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what it is. But it makes me angry. I'm angry that this nonsense, like, I'm really angry. So this is a photograph that I took right here. And if I go backwards, that's where I was working on the sniper stuff, right? And notice, he doesn't have his hat on. Well, I'm not going to go into all the sniper issues. There's a lot of sniper issues. But they were facing in the other direction. And then 1 minute 38 seconds before the gunshots ran out, they turned and faced the shooter. But the issue is that we had this situation happen. And this situation right here, hold on just a second. This situation right here is happening. Oh, I must already be as high as I can go up. This situation is already happening 2 minutes and 44 seconds before the 2 minutes and 44 seconds before the gunshot rings out, right? So what happened from 2 minutes 44? I'm sorry. So Trump starts speaking. 4 minutes, 16 seconds later, we get this event right here. Somebody runs across where we can see and intersects with either Crooks or Urich, whoever it is on the roof. I don't know who's on the roof, but whoever it is. That's at 4 minutes, 16 seconds after Trump starts speaking. And then from that is 2 minutes and 44 seconds. So 2 minutes and 44 seconds to, I need a clock. 2 minutes, 44 seconds to 1 minute and 38 seconds. That is a loss of 34 seconds. So in 44 seconds, no, 44 seconds. In 44 seconds between this, the snipers turn their weapons toward the shooter, toward this direction. Why? If they weren't communicating, if they couldn't see each other, then why did they turn? And why is this person right here, who is in a military or a militarized police uniform, why is he running like hell? And that was the thing that I kept being bothered by. That was the thing that I kept thinking, but why? Like, why, if you're the dastardly shooter, If you're the dastardly assassin, why don't you care that people are going to see you? Like, why are you running so fast? You're standing straight up. You're running like hell. Are you not worried that someone's going to see you? All those guns that are out there around this man, you're not stopping 1 second to think? I don't think so. I think this was one of the good guys. I think this is one of the good guys trying to stop this from happening. And maybe that's why the shot didn't get off. Maybe that's why the shot was wrong. Maybe they were fighting over the weapon or whatever. It doesn't make sense to me because it was what? 2 seconds later before the gunshots ran out. But this guy right here that runs across, this guy's got on a military style helmet. Or it's a damn woman. Take your pick. Which one you feeling good about? It is the craziest thing. It is crazy. All right. Well, and that's all, what you see here is Crooks making his way towards his shooting spot. Yeah, that is exactly what we see. But can you explain to us why he's wearing a military helmet? Why does he look like the local police SWAT team? Why? I know what they told us it was. I know what they said. This is what you're looking at. But I kept saying, why would he run like that? Why wouldn't he try to keep his head down? Why isn't he already on the roof at this point? Aren't there people on the ground saying he's on the roof already? So who is this running? Crooks didn't have black clothes on, just black socks. It is crazy, CR. I heard that it was the local police. Gunman pointed. Yeah, we did hear that. We did that the gunman peeked up over that the police peeked up over the edge, and Crooks turned his gun on him and said, "I'll shoot you." And the police said, "Oh, I'm so scared," and he fell to the ground, and then he just walked away because the guy had a gun and he was scared, right? That is the head of the person that is running. You think that's the black backpack? Oh my God. I'm weary. I'm really weary. It's not the backpack. You can't see the backpack. And the reason you can't see the backpack is because that's his little itty bitty head peeking up over the edge of this forwardmost building. This guy is on the back building trying to make his way over to this building over here. So you can't see his back. All you can see is just his little itty bitty head bobbing along right here. See him running? See him running really fast? And there are some curiosities. Oh, yeah, I can. There are some curiosities here that I don't know what it is. I can't make heads or tail of it. But like in this frame, you see the anomaly with the light. It's really odd. No way he could crawl over. See, it looks right there. It looks like right there he jumps down. but you can't see it. You can't see his body or anything. It's just his head that you see running across. But he's running. I mean, he's running fast. It's really odd. And this was another thing too. They did an interview with a guy that did an interview with a guy who was just like 6 or 7 car lengths. Okay, well, to be exact, 5 to 6 lengths of Suburbans, full size Suburban, bumper to bumper, about 30 to 40 yards away, who saw the guy before he ever got up on the roof. And he said that the guy was 30 or 40 years old. Crooks was a skinny, his college graduation, though it wasn't really college, it was like an associate degree. His graduation, he looks anorexic. I'm not saying that he was, I'm just saying that's how lean he is or was. Very, 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 very angular and lean, to the point that he looked ill, like he could be a cancer patient or something like that. And, you know, he's a baby faced 20-year-old. You know, some 20-year-olds have, you know, facial hair, and he does not in his college. He looks like a very young 20-year-old. And that's the other thing that I can't work out in my head. I can't work out why you got this kid who, for all intent purposes, one of his teachers, he was very gifted in terms of computers and technical issues, programming. Why would 2 parents who are both educated, why would they have their son go and get a 1-year associate degree so that he could go and spoon out cafeteria food in an old folks home, when your son has the ability to make a contribution to the world? Why wouldn't they want him in college developing his computer skills, or find him a job, you know, in a technology related field? Why would they do that to him? Can you imagine a more miserable existence on the planet for a 20-year-old kid than working in a cafeteria at a nursing home? Can you imagine anything worse? I mean, it's like the worst possible. There would be no more miserable location anywhere for a 20-year-old who's smart and has the ability to do a meaningful job, to fulfill a meaningful role, doing something that he enjoyed. He enjoyed technology. He knew computers. He knew programming. Why would they do that to him? This is nonsense. This whole thing, this thing is so nonsensical. It's just nuts. It's just nuts. So, yeah, Ashley, thank you for being here. There's really no more. I mean, I just thought you think, well, don't put that up there, because people are just going to say you manipulated it, or you're making a lie, it's photoshopped, blah blah blah. But it's not. It is truth. And why not put the truth out there. Right? I don't get it. He had only been on the job for 3 weeks. There you go. It's just, Crooks said he was going to Sanford. The nursing home was just a part-time job. And yeah, I think that was do you think that was real, Cindy? Or I got the feeling it was like some kids messing with him, right? I mean, we've already heard that he kind of got targeted a lot. Some people called it bullion. Maybe it wasn't bullion. Maybe it was just kids, maybe being a little goofy. But I certainly would think that if he had been accepted to Stanford, of all places, then why would he be working? Why would he go to the junior college and get a certificate where he could serve cafeteria food in a residential setting? Why would he do that if he was getting accepted to Stanford? That is another hard to understand point, right? So, but I did see that little clip because he said, "Oh, I'm going to Stanford and I have a 10-inch shoe." All right. So I don't know. So let me get this turned off. So that is actually a picture of the runner. So the man that I can't pronounce their names, but the man that got shot with 2 bullets in the hospital, when he came out, he released a video clip that he had been taking video, which I find very difficult to believe. Here's another video, because you can see him in the crowd and he is not recording anything, but that it doesn't mean that they had him on the camera the whole time. It's just right before it all happened. He doesn't have his phone out recording. So when did he record it? But the official story is that it came from him, and that then he released the video where the guy's running across the rooftop, and then he disappears a second or two, and then he shows up, and, it's got the circle that shows the movement of either he's taken the gun out of the holster. But I don't know why he would have to take the gun out of the backpack, because we have eyewitnesses that were on the ground that said that he had a rifle strapped to his back, that he had a rifle sling on his back. And yet, when you go to the video, the rifle laying there about 10 feet from his body has 0 strap. There is not a strap on the gun. There is not. So it would be more likely that the gun was, the stock will fold, that, it was folded up and in the backpack. But why didn't they say that as he's crawling up on the roof, he had a backpack on? That's not what they said. They said he had a long rifle over his back. So we got a lot of eyewitnesses on the ground with a lot of conflicting stories that do not match what we're seeing. And I know Martin says, well, it's pixelated. I know it's pixelated. I know it's pixelated, and I know it's blurry. And that is because I'm zoomed in like 410 or some crazy crap, okay? But what else do you call what you're looking at? I can't do this anymore. It just is what it is. It's silly. That's the picture. All you're seeing is the head. The rest of the body is down on this is the top. This is the apex of the slope. So this person is running along this back end. Once they get down here, they'll jump over on the little walkway, cross over onto the forwardmost building, and then end up on over there where where Crooks, pops his little head up. But this is the person running. And so when I had it zoomed in this far, I looked at it and I said, holy shit, it's a woman. It's a blonde lady with sunglasses. And I said, that's crazy. That's not true. That can't be. That just can't be. And so at that point, then I said, screw it. This is going to make Martin crazy, but I'm going to zoom right on in there. And when I got as close as I could get, that's what I came up with. And it is not, in fact, a blonde lady. It's somebody wearing SWAT or militarized police gear, or it's a military guy. That's the helmet. Just as easy to discern. It's not difficult. It's so simple. And there's his glasses. And you can just see his mouth right here. And you can see his nose. Now, it may not be easy to see like on a television screen, but I'm looking at it, on a good computer. So it's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. And I will say this too. I heard somebody say on a video the other day, I heard somebody say something along the lines of, oh, what? Do you think you're going to solve it? Now, they weren't talking to me. It was somebody else's video, but they're, you think you're going to solve this? You think you're going to solve it and the FBI cannot solve it? No, I think the FBI knows damn well what happened. I don't think the FBI has to solve anything. I think they know. I think they know who this is. They know who it is. They know who's up on the roof. They know what happened. They know why the sniper team turned around 1 minute and 38 seconds before the shooting. They know why this little event happened 2 minutes and 44 seconds before the shooting. They know why. We don't know why. That's the point. We're not telling the government officials. The government officials know. They have all the information. They're just not telling us. We get the runaround. Oh, excuse me, Director Cheadle, can you tell us why, that particular building that was so dangerous in the sweet spot for any would-be assassin, can you tell us why you did not have it covered? Why didn't you have assets on that building? Well, the roof was sloped, you see. The roof was sloped and it was really dangerous. And, I like my agents. I didn't want anybody to get hurt. I didn't want all of my sweet friends and agents to fall off the roof. Oh, okay. Thank you, Director Cheadle, for clearing that up for us dumb peasants. The government manipulates us just to keep working and giving them 65 cents of every dollar that we make. They have 7 ways to Sunday to get back at you. Don't we remember that well, Ricochet? Don't we remember? At the time that was said, I was making a video, like a Christmas kind of tongue-in-cheek joke, haha video. I remember him saying that, and I thought, that's so ridiculous. That's so ridiculous to threaten a would-be president or president of the United States of America with the Department of Justice. So crazy, right? And then we remember what happened November the 23rd. JFK, right? July the 13th. It's just, it's disheartening on a level that I listen to these crazy political arguments among people, both sides, both conservative and liberal. It's so extreme. The rhetoric and the talk is just nuts. Like, we've gone off the rails. We no longer worry about whether this person has the experience and the intellect and the social graces to manage worldwide affairs, right? We no longer worry about that anymore. Now we just play these stupid games of gotcha and who we can try to make look bad or look stupid or look dumb. And the net effect is we're not getting quality candidates. We're not getting the academic elites. We're not getting the brilliant, accomplished business people. Now, I think that Donald Trump has been incredibly, incredibly successful in business. And I absolutely would rather see him up there trying to manage this terrible economic storm that our country is in right now. But there's so many great people that are intelligent and smart, decent, moral, have integrity, that could be amazing candidates. And instead, you can't get them because they don't want to deal with this circus that we've turned politics into. And this is part of the circus. If you have an assassination attempt on a major candidate, either party, even against RFK. RFK should have been having protection a long time ago. He's had 2 family members in politics that were assassinated. Why aren't you protecting them from people that are really unbalanced, so that the best of the best has an opportunity out there for us to vote for, me and you both, whatever side you're on? It's not what we're doing. And now it looks like someone maybe putting their finger on that, scale, right? What was it? I can smell the Walmart shoppers from here. That being said, from one of your FBI finest, I'm sorry. Isn't the FBI supposed to be there to protect Americans? Oh, I'm sorry, just certain Americans that are part of your little club. But if other Americans are not in your club, then what? We got crazy people running around trying to kill them and no one's trying to protect them. Is that what's happening? I'm sorry for another rant. I don't like this kind of thing. This is bad. So it is filthy. It is filthy, Alessia. It is filthy. RFK is the most hidden liberal you could ever imagine. Yeah, maybe, but the VP running mate for Kamala, he has got quite a history, including stolen valor. There are bad people on both sides. There's no difference. There you go. Absolutely, Diane. Absolutely. I think all of us have reached a point we recognize there's no longer like the left and the right, right? There's no longer Democrats or Republicans. There's this silent, very powerful group that belong neither to Democrat or Republican. They may carry a D or an R. They may get elected as a D or an R. But once they're there, they're operating behind the scenes just to enrich number one, in my opinion. It's only my opinion. I could be completely wrong. But we do have some really strange and questionable votes in Congress. If you follow individual congressmen and women and watch how they vote, sometimes you can get really surprised. Like Speaker Mike Johnson, for example. I've known of Mr. Johnson for at least 12 years, because we lived very close together. And he presents as the absolute most pious, religious zealot that you can imagine. And yet he signs willingly, he signs a bill that will allow for even late-term abortion. Also, he can send money to Ukraine. Like, my head exploded. I said, Mike Johnson voted for an abortion bill? Like, how long have I been listening to him rant and rave against abortion? I'm not saying I agreed with him signing it or not. I'm saying, knowing him many years and the public face and the way he put himself out there, his beliefs and all that, abortion was that deal breaker. Like, he would never, under any circumstances at all in the universe, vote for abortion. Never, never, never. Then he took a little meeting with Paul Ryan, and magically he signed an abortion bill that sent money to the Ukraine. So that's hard to understand. It's very strange. I don't pretend to know. I can't know what goes on behind closed doors, not a bit. But the aftermath, the circumstantial situation looks kind of ugly and murky. That's all I'm saying. New book about the Kennedys. Ask not. The Kennedy, whoops, rolled off my screen. Sorry about that. New book out about the Kennedys. Ask not. The Kennedys and the women they destroyed. I've seen a couple of interviews with the author. It is fascinating, including RFK. Well, we could get into the whole psychology of powerful men, but you know what we're learning in 2024? We're learning that very powerful women, they tend to go through their fair share of the opposite sex as well. Something about power. It is an aphrodisiac. All right. The officer that saw Crooks on the roof and dropped down wasn't documented in the timeline. People really want to know why. I think he was the one supposedly that got injured on his hand. Maybe, Edith, absolutely. And don't you think that was such an important moment? It should be a part of the official timeline. It should be. And why would it be hard? Why would it be hard to name the time? Because people clearly saw it. So weren't they recording? There were so many people out there with cameras. So it may make it on the timeline yet, but look, there's a lot wrong with timeline too. There's a lot wrong with timeline. If you go and listen to the channels, like Peak Prosperity is one of them. If you go and listen to the different channels that are analyzing the audio, the feedback, the sounds of the bullets, correct? You're getting a couple of different bits of messaging. You're getting this message that first there's a group of, is it 3 shot? Did the 3 shot? Yeah, 3 shots. Then there's a 15-second break. Then there's 5 shots. Then someone says, well, it's 3 shots. There's a third gun that has a different, retort, and then the 5 shots. And you have, in the beginning, Ray came out and said that the sniper took Crooks out 15 seconds after the gunfire started. But then you also had people come out to say that Crooks only got 1 shot out. The snipers took him out 5 seconds later, and then a different shooter had the barrage of 5 shots. They still don't know what happened with the gunshots, y'all. And this video is so necessary to understand, because of where it happens in the context of the day, in the speech. That Trump comes out on stage, he stands around, he claps, he does his little dance, he sings, whatever. He walks up, he starts talking. When he starts talking, 4 minutes later, this occurs. You get the guy running, who now looks to have been an asset, like one of the good guys. He's running across. You see what looks to be an altercation at the roof line. And then it is 2 minutes and 44 seconds later that the gunshot rings out. It's a long time, right? Now we know that this guy takes off running, and the snipers on the south building turn their guns, their weapons, everything around, complete turn around direction, so that all 4 sniper weapons are now pointed at Crooks. 1 minute and 38 seconds. So did they see this? Did they hear this? What happened here? But I do think common sense only, my opinion, I want to make sure that y'all know this is just my opinion only, me only. That time is it's too close together to be accidental, I think. It does seem like it's a cause and effect. And the other question is, maybe the police officer didn't fall to the ground. Maybe this is the police officer. Maybe this is the police officer that made it up on the roof and ran and intervened. And I think somebody got their hand hurt, right? Didn't their hand get hurt? And here's something I don't understand. Within the hour of removing Crooks' body, they literally take a water hose and wash off the roof of this building. It's a crime scene. The building was a crime scene. So the Secret Service, the FBI, they don't know it's a crime scene? For example, aren't they supposed to take photographs and document the position of each casing on the roof? Well, I mean, what if there are casings under the blood as opposed to casing laying right on top of the blood? There's a lot of information that could have come from that, but how's that they didn't do that? It's amazing. It is amazing. The U.S. Secret Service erased all communications on that day. Oh my God, Ricochet. When I heard Cheadle say there were no recordings of audio communications, I literally just flopped right out of my chair. No, I didn't. I myself could never be that clumsy, even in a state of shock. Well, I might be clumsy, but just incredible, right? It's incredible. It's so incredible. There was no officer that climbed on top of the shoulders of another officer. Did not happen. A lot of people have said that, Captain Kirk. A lot of people. Absolutely. And that's why who wears short pants on a boiling hot tin roof? Well, and earlier video, he's walking around and he's got regular pants on. So what is that about? When did he stop and, do a fashion change? There's so many questions. And please don't misunderstand me, please. I have zero illusion that me or any other YouTube creator I don't know. There's a lot of military people now that have commentary on their, channels, but maybe one of those people. But maybe they do uncover something that solves the case or whatever. I don't have those illusions. I know my limitations. I know who I am. But here's my true belief. The Department of Justice right now, today, as we sit and look at this photograph with incredulity, the Department of Justice right now, today, they know who this is. They know exactly who this is right here. They know who that is up on the roof. They know why they turn those snipers around. They know why the snipers that were deep in the building, why they abandoned their post. They know why the Secret Service was in communication blackout with local law enforcement. Do you realize, y'all, if it hadn't been for local law enforcement, Donald Trump may very well be dead, along with additional Americans besides Corey. It was local law enforcement that managed all this. Let that sink in. And as soon as these nonsensical stories started coming out from our so honest mainstream media, the actual law enforcement that were there, the sniper units, they wanted to go on TV and tell the truth. Thank God they did. So no, I don't think not for a moment that I'm looking at a picture that, nobody else has. Law enforcement has this. They know they don't even need this, y'all. They know who it is. They know what happened. They know the story. They know. But they did. At least we know for sure Cheadle, as well as Ronald Rowe, they both went up there and lied in front of your congressman. The people, the men and women that you voted for to represent you, your state, your district, the Department of Justice is above the law in their own minds. They believe they have more power than anyone. And they're not supposed to. They're supposed to be under the executive branch, and they are supposed to have equal power to the Congress. And if the Congress asks you a question, they should damn well be compelled to answer. And if you ask for a report you're entitled to, and they refuse to give it, like Mayorkas has done, then you ought to throw their asses in jail, period. I don't know when things got so weird and upside down in this country. I don't like this idea that there's some kind of like mafia running the United States government. And like I said, I don't think it's left or right. I think it's a mixture of just people, and that part of the political game is to make us mad at each other. I think they've got liberals and conservatives mad at one another. They got men and women fighting against each other. They got young people and old people fighting against each other. It's the rich are fighting against the poor. The haves are fighting with the have-nots. Oh, yes, you should have private land ownership. No, you should never be allowed to own land. We are in a crazy upside-down world, but you better stop and think, who's benefiting from all of this chaos? Because it's not we the people. We're not benefiting. We keep going, voting loyally and faithfully for our chosen candidates. And then they take a little meeting with Paul Ryan or some other Schumer or whatever. And suddenly when they come out of the meeting, they vote in a way they've never voted before. And they start building big ass mansions. How'd that happen? Because I got news for you. They don't make a whole lot of money, y'all. like 150, 175 a year, something like that. You shouldn't have $65 million in the bank if you're making $150,000 a year. Do you realize that? That's very strange. Dan Crenshaw. Oh, Mr. America. Mr. I love Texas. Mr. Aw shucks, I'm just one of you guys. Dan Crenshaw. Why don't you lift the curtain on how you were homeless, having to live with your mother-in-law and your father-in-law because you didn't have a pot to pee in, and then we all believed in you. We all believed the word you said to us. We all voted for you, and then you go up there to Capitol Hill, and in what, 3 years, you're walking around a millionaire? Suddenly you ain't voting like your friends vote anymore, Dan. You got some curious looking little assistants walking around with you too all the time. What's that about? Inquiring minds in Texas want to know, Dan. Or Gold Bar Menendez, that poor, that, you know what? To me, Menendez is like the most hapless, kind of unexpected criminal element of all time, right? He was so bad at being corrupt that when they started throwing all the money at him, he just started shoving it in pockets. He didn't have any idea where he was going to hide it. He didn't have any idea what he was going to do with it. He's like, oh shit, here's an empty shoe. Shove some of it in that shoe. Poor Menendez. He was not prepared to meet up with that kind of corruption, was he? It's kind of funny. This transgender thing with walls and the Olympics is scary. I think it comes from Obama. I don't know. I don't know. It's I thought it was funny that they thought that it was going to be this great campaign line to say that. I think it was supposed to be JD is weird, right? JD Vance is weird, and then Trump is weird. And then Josh Shapiro says, yeah, Trump's weird. He hugs the American flag. It's so weird. I was like, oh my God. Hugging the American flag is weird, but having a Supreme Court justice that cannot give you the definition of a female is not weird. That's weird. Our vocabulary has been hijacked, right? We're really, things are weird. They've really made a mess of things. They really have. Canada is going to have. Is that right, Ricochet? Really? Wow, that's kind of crazy. Huh. Are you sure? Is that true, or am I being snookered? Keister Bunny is a Russian bot? No, you're not, Keister. Well, and you could say that, right, Keister? That hugging the American flag is weird, but putting a tampon machine in the boys' bathroom is not weird. Yeah. Man, bear pit. Yeah, it things have gotten very strange. And Vicky Carpenter points out, absolutely, a house divided against itself will not stand. United we stand, divided we fall. And if you think back to all the way back to 1963, John F. Kennedy assassination, they have kept us divided. They have kept us divided. They make us hate each other for any number of things when really we're all living exactly parallel lives. We all have the same goals. We want a good house to live in that's in a safe neighborhood. We want a place to raise our children so that they can go to school and learn what they need to learn and be safe and be happy while they're at school. We all want to be able to get educated so we can have a job that will pay the bills. We don't want to be turned into slaves at our jobs, but we do want to, work equal pay for equal work. We're all exactly the same people, every one of us, but they are masterful at making us hate one another, according to a little d and a little r. It's horrible, if you want to know the truth. He took kids from parents who did not want their 6-year-olds to be trans. I don't know why that's not criminal, quid pro. Keister is an American bunny, I'll have you guys know. She is not, in fact, a Russian bot. Can we please make sure everybody's aware of that? Well, they're calling us weird, Alessia. The house structure is not solid, so it will not be strong and stable. And can I say this? Some of us are mucking about with Russia. Some of us are taunting Putin, Vladimir Putin. He's not going to be very happy. He doesn't especially like his assassination attempts either. Telling you, they want us in a war. And people will make jokes like so they used to say, because they used to say, like, if they went after one of the ships, like in the Straits of Hormuz, then that would threaten the world's supply of oil, right? And so then there wouldn't be enough oil not to run things and do what we needed. And so if there was even the slightest little attack on a ship or anything in the Straits of Hormuz, then you could clock it. The price of a barrel of oil would just shoot up 10, 15, 20 bucks, right? Doesn't do that anymore, even though Russia, this is way too complicated to start talking about. Europe is in trouble. They cannot heat their homes. The price of natural gas is so high that even stores are being closed and they're not leaving the heating on at night. Most people in Europe have resorted to burning wood, and the wood all throughout the city sold out. The retail wood bundles sold out. And so people went out in the woods and began cutting down. This was in Germany, began cutting down, Norway too. I have a friend in Norway that was talking about cutting up furniture, old furniture that had been in storage. They cut it up and burned it. But going out in the woods and trying to find, downed trees that had aged that they could try to burn, and people getting arrested because it's illegal to cut down the trees, but the people cannot purchase heating. There's no oil, natural gas to heat their homes. So it's a real disaster. And the reason that they are in this terrible state is because they had become nearly completely dependent on Russian natural gas to heat their homes. They were nearly dependent on Russian oil for petrol for their cars, diesel and whatnot. So our so brilliant United Nations, led by the United States government, a man who is struggling to remember his name, they say, well, we're going to just put sanctions on Russia and make Russia behave, and we'll just move in and keep moving our missile systems closer Putin every day, even though we're the ones violating the treaty. We're the ones that are violating the agreement, not Russia. We are. But we'll keep doing this, and we'll, threaten him and not let him sell his oil or his wheat. And yet, meanwhile, back at the ranch, when no one was paying attention, Brazil and Russia and China and some other nations, well, they all got together and they established their own parallel trade system that does not, in fact, have to use the petrodollar. They can move and purchase and buy commodities in grand scale with whatever denomination that they wish. And so, and China is just inhaling gold. They're buying any little gram or any grand brick of gold bullion that they can get their hands on. And when we inflicted our sanctions on Russia, everybody said, gosh, it's not working. I wonder why Russia's doing okay. I mean, it seemed like they got lots of food, and there's lots of new cars on the road, and everybody's wearing new clothes, and prices are down, and they got lots of oil. Like, what's happening over in Russia? Because we've got sanctions on them. And then somebody said, they're trading like in yen and rubles, and they trade it whenever they want to because we've lost the petrodollar. We fell asleep. We thought we were too cool. They're not telling anybody that, are they? So here's what it is. So the people in Europe are hungry and they're very cold. And we in the United States just argue about the silliest, most foolish things. And yet we're all having to try to go to the grocery store and buy food that is dramatically inflated because this government printed money like toilet paper. And that's about what it's worth. So, who's watching CNN? Yeah, we should all quit watching mainstream media. We are talking chaos, calming the chaos. We are. It is a chaotic world for sure. But anyway, so here is your runner. Calming the chaos just came in. She may not know it. This is your runner. Looks like a military dude. Looks like perhaps he was running to try and interfere with the shooting. What it looks like. And is this guy here, is he the reason why, or she the reason why the South snipers turned their firearms around and faced Crooks' position? Inquiring minds want to know, but there it is. Yeah? All right. Man, whose job is it to keep the soapbox away from me? I thought I gave somebody the job. Your job is do not give me the soapbox. I don't want it. Keep it away from me at all cost. The money, he got a lot of money. Money. Money makes the world go around. What was that old song? Cabaret. Money makes the world go around. The world go around. Israel has no debt. We have 35 trillion and we're paying for their war. Captain Kirk, is so weird that you said that because literally, like, I bet 5 hours ago, I said exactly that. Why are we printing money to just turn around and hand it to the Ukraine or give it to Israel? Israel has got plenty of their own bombs and ammunition and money. True. Yeah, exactly true. We are, we are, we have so many sectors now in the United States that have been wiped out. Appalachia, thank NAFTA for Appalachia, it got wiped out. And when you take away people's dignity and their ability to make a living, you take away their reason for living. And that's when they begin to try to numb. And that's when you get alcohol and drug addiction out of control. Pennsylvania, Pittsburgh has got a serious problem with substances. California, we can't even talk about that. It's Oregon, Washington, struggling terribly with a sizable percentage of their population living on the street, addicted to serious drugs. But that doesn't come from people's frailty. That comes from a life where there's no hope and there's no opportunity. There's no pathway to dignity. And if you remove all of the manufacturing, if you remove all of the creation, then there's no jobs for anyone. We've kind of reached a point in this country now that I used to know something like $8 out of every $10 bill is actually money that's being filtered through the government by way of Social Security or healthcare. That should scare you to death, because that does not make for a strong economy. That makes Egypt. And if you hadn't checked in on Egypt's economy lately, you might want to. I'm in South Louisiana. Laissez le bon temps de rouler. I'm in South Louisiana, and Obama shut down the shipyards, and so many men lost their jobs. Louisiana and Texas have been hard hit also by the attack on fossil fuels. Barack Obama came into office and within days shut down NASA. Who remembers that? Who remembers shutting down our hard sciences? What? We are not a third world country, Barack. And yet you treated us like one. And it was Elon Musk and Donald Trump's partnership that turned the lights back on at NASA and fired up all of those research labs. True story. Biden came into office and immediately shut down the pipeline. It killed thousands of jobs that paid more than $100,000 a year. That's exactly right, Diane. Sent all of our factories to China and Vietnam. Got the majority of the factories. He shut down National Guards. I didn't know that, Fatty Momo. Are you from Angel? Are you from Iowa by chance? Calm in the Chaos is the 100th like. Come on, guys. Can we do a little bit better on the likes, please? Now y'all make me just degrade into the old common YouTube-y stuff. Begging for clicks and views. No, I don't want clicks and views. I just want a thumbs up. One little itsy bitsy thumbs up, please. And if you're so inclined, you can hit the subscribe button. Then you'll know when I go live again, because I do not have a regular upload schedule. I work a real job. I have to work full time. So I only do my videos when I find a private moment. So if you hit the subscribe button, then you'll find out when I put another new video up. So I'd appreciate that. MSNBC equals more shist and bull crap. Who's going to feed them? Need hemp, American farmers and Canadian. I agree with that. Thank you, Micro Blue. I appreciate it that you liked my video on the way in. I appreciate it. Salty Sweet Tea, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hey, DB. Nancy Drew, mine only says 35. Man, that is demoralizing. Quid pro Joe. Make me cry. Charles Heald, welcome. We need Molson beers, right? How about Budweiser? Thumbs up and have been agreeing. Thank you, CJAG1. Appreciate that. Now it's happening here. People can't even see. Oh, I think people see it. People see it. You've just been trained to keep your mouth shut, right? We've been trained. We've been trained that people will laugh at us and make fun of us if we say something. But hey, let's talk about identity for a moment, shall we? I am, in fact, a psychologist. I am, in fact, qualified to talk on identity and the importance of identity. If you know who you are, if you know what your accomplishments are, if you know what your strengths are, if you embrace your weaknesses, if you know the kinds of things that make you feel good, if you know the things that you should try to avoid, like me and my soapbox, if you know the things you need to do to stay stable and healthy and productive, then do you really care if some unknown person tries to make fun of you and call you names like racist, or I love this one, deplorable? When someone says you are deplorable, I say I am, and I am irredeemable. But I'm pretty fun and I'm a pretty nice person too, so maybe we could be friends, right? When people try to make fun of you and call you names, if you know who you are, if you're proud of the way you live your daily life, then their opinion doesn't matter. It is no reflection on you. It's simply a reflection on what's going on between their two ears. Charles Heald says shadow banning. Well, maybe overt banning. There may not be any shadows involved, Charles. My son always says he's an Apache helicopter and he identifies as a threat. I like it. That is very nice. If Miss Thing becomes president and is shouting down natural gas, that's Pennsylvania's way of life. She said they came to install solar panels. My God in heaven. What a disaster. Texas proved that. Texas proved what, if you ask any of these people, scientists that work in renewables, if you ask them what the basic rules in terms of limitations are for renewables, any renewables really, they will, other than I guess nuclear, they will say to you, renewables are great, they're awesome in moderate conditions. They fail spectacularly in extreme conditions. So if it's too hot, or if it's too cold, your little windmill is not going to work. And if you have already cut off your natural gas generators, you're going to need 3 or 4 days just to get them running again. And by then, I don't know, you're going to lose 30, 40, 50 people dead to the frozen cold. You don't believe me? Look back at what happened in Texas in 2019, I think, 20, maybe it was 2020. Okay, we're living proof that the windmills up around Amarillo, all that area, they're great. They're great. Like from September up to November or so. And then again, like from February over to October. But you got 3 months in the summer and 2.5 months in the winter. Texas has extreme conditions. We're either deathly hot or freezing your buns off cold. And yet our governor Abbott got us into a terrible fix by agreeing that we would be something like, I don't want to say because now I don't remember exactly what it was. Something like 80% dependent on renewables, something crazy. And in order to enforce that in the winter of 2019, they literally shut off all of the natural gas generators. And so all we could do, it was like being in the ice age. And there was no electricity. There was nothing. And very few houses now have gas heat, very few. And people just died. They just laid in their recliner or they laid in their beds and they died of cold. So don't turn off the natural gas generators if you're in extreme weather conditions. That's the rule of thumb. Germany tried to go all renewables. It was a complete failure. We're not, the technology is not even there. It's not even close. And AOC said, oh, we're going to ban airplanes before 2028. I was just like, my goodness. That's what you have. That's what happens when you give power to sorority girls, people. We saw how great windmills are during the deep freeze in Texas. We sure did. It was a nightmare, Alessia. Here's how we survived at my house. And we were fortunate. Don't get me wrong. So my house is right on the Gulf, right? I get a nice Gulf warm wind blowing right into my big French doors anytime I want it. Okay. So we did have warmer air. It was still cold, but it was much warmer than even like 4 miles inland. And my husband brought up a barbecue pit and put it just inside the house. I know what you guys are thinking. Are y'all crazy? No, all our French door, we have French doors all the way across the front of the house. And we had the French doors open, but he'd light it, he'd let it burn for a little bit, and then we'd turn it off, and then he'd light it. But we put our ski clothes on, and then I had like 4 or 5 big fur blankets on me, and then I have 5 dogs, and all my dogs jumped up in the bed with me, and I just stayed in the bed and played video games on my phone 24 hours a day for a week. And that's how we survived. They died because they have YouTube withdrawal, Martin. 100%, man. 100%. The geniuses behind going windmill tech should be in jail. Well, somebody's got to teach them about what oil is, right? Because these windmills, you may think wind is free, but there's a whole lot of oil going into those big giant machines. And they're killing the damn birds. And I happen to like birds a lot. I have 2 of them. I have one named Barry behind bars. That's for you, Barry Morphew. And then I had to buy him a wife, and I was going to call her Shoho, but I figured that might get me into legal jeopardy. So I named her Fancy, Miss Fancy behind bars. So I have Barry behind bars and his lovely bride, Fancy behind bars, and we all get along just great. But the windmills in North Texas are killing the raptors, and I like eagles. And they're killing them because the sound attracts them, and it's terrible. It's a bloodbath for birds. No, the cockroaches lived, Charles. During the great ice storm in Texas, the damn cockroaches were great. They were fine. Turns out they're impervious to cold. Who knew? I saw a windmill be completely snapped and destroyed by one tornado. I believe that. So there are these massive drilling rigs out in the North Sea, right? Now that the North Sea, that is some of the most unforgiving weather on the globe, right? It's not the most, but it's among the worst. They use windmill power there but those windmills, they have so much like anti-weathering technology and special coating, and they told Texas, again, here's something else I don't remember. They told Texas how much it would cost for them to do the same kind of mitigating updates for all the windmills that are like in North Texas. It was such a crazy amount. It was like $2 billion. It was something just you couldn't even imagine, doing. So we're left with natural gas, oil, and our windmills. So it's a mess. Epic Goldie, how are you? When on earth is Barry going to get put behind bars. I don't know, Epic Goldie. Ask Martin. Ask Martin. Martin's the man with the plan. Parakeets like hemp, do they? I buy a millet, Charles. I buy these little sprays of dried, I guess it's flowers maybe, and man, they love it. I think there may be a little THC involved because they love this stuff. All right. So thank you guys for talking to me and being friendly, because I was really upset about putting this video out. I felt really stressed, and I feel really angry and unhappy about this picture. This is your runner. Now, is he the shooter? At this point, I'm going to say he's not the shooter. I think he tried to stop Crooks. That's what I think. I think he was running up on that roof trying to get to Crooks, and it didn't work. So something went wrong. But if that's the case, why would the Department of Justice lie to the entire United States of America? If that's the case, why wouldn't they just tell us the truth? And I don't have any illusions that, this is something that Ronald McDonald Rowe doesn't already know. He knows. Cheadle knows. They all know who this guy is. They all know who it is. They all know. But they're not telling us the truth. And that's what I'm bothered by. We deserve to know the truth. We don't live behind the Iron Curtain. We're not North Korea. They tell us we're having free and fair elections. That's what they say. So there's something wrong with that. There's something really, really wrong with this picture. But this is the guy. This is the guy running across the building. A candle in a clay pot with another clay pot on top puts out a lot of heat. Diane, I watched a lady that is in Europe, and she does these updates. She's like one of these prepper types. And she does these updates where she talks about like how much everything costs, and how she does like reviews generators and things like that to try to help people prep and get prepared. And she did a show on the clay pots, making a heater out of just a regular candle and a clay heater. So apparently it works. She had a little like a thermometer, and she showed how much heat that it was putting out. It's pretty interesting. All right. Well, the last election, let's see. You need to get some of those heating wires to melt that snow off the panels. We needed a lot of heating wires in 2019. We had a real problem on our hands. Did you watch that video I sent you where you were mentioned, where I was mentioned? That makes me nervous. Was that the one with about Jason Mao? I'm so proud of your willingness to put the information out. I know it put you in the line of fire from a lot of people. Cognitive dissonance causes irrationality in many. Keister, people don't want people talking about this. I texted you the link the other day. Megan and Connor used your video to talk about Jason Mao. I did see that. Thank you. Thank you for sending that to me. I appreciate that. Yeah. He's something, isn't he? He's and I really love what she and Crusher are doing, showing the larger organization. I think it's a noble endeavor, for for sure. Some fish breeders use candles pushed into Crisco for keeping aquariums from freezing. Passed 3-2 to investigate all the shenanigans that happened in 2020, but use independent investigators because they don't trust AG. Then they arrested him day before the shooting. Yes, Tim D. So two very peculiar things happened, right? So you've got the one dude who is from Pakistan. Is that the one you're talking about, Tim? You got the guy from Pakistan who said he just walks up to a couple of strangers. Y'all just listen to this. It's great. Walks up to a couple of strangers in New York City and says, hey, I have a clothing business and I want to hire you to work in my yarn dip clothing business. And they said, well, okay. And so then they have a big conversation. Then he says, no, just kidding. Yarn dip is actually a code word. What I really want to do is I really want to hire somebody to work with me in a conspiracy to attack famous, powerful politicians in the United States of America. And these two dudes said, sure, I'm in. That sounds great. And so the guy said, okay, well, if you'll help me, I'll give you $5,000. And I promise I have a very lucrative clothing business and I'm good for it. So don't worry about getting paid now because I'm for sure will be able to pay you. And they said, okay, sounds good. And so then he took out a napkin and he laid it across the table in the Holiday Inn. And he used some salt and pepper shakers, a bowl, a spoon, and a knife to set up a potential assassination of an important political figure. And they said, this is great. Let's do it. And believe it or not, he got arrested on July the 12th, the day before the assassination attempt on Donald Trump. So there's that one dude. We got a second dude, however, in Texas. And this was kind of cool. So we have two Chinese nationals who do not speak a word of English, not one. They can't even say MAGA, okay? They don't know a single English word at all. Well, they leave China a couple of months apart from each other back in 2023. They leave China where they travel to Hong Kong. They go from Hong Kong to, I don't know, somewhere else, like maybe it was Dubai or something. And then from Dubai over to Mexico. And then what do you think they did when they got to Mexico? They put a backpack on. They just walked that backpack right over that border, Tijuana, right in Southern California, where they were intercepted by the United States government. And they were found to have entered illegally. And they were given a date to show up for court. And then they were released into our country with a gift card for $1,500 each. They then went and rented a car. And when they rented the car, no. They got on an airplane. They went to LAX and they got on an airplane to Georgia. That's right. And when they got to Georgia, then they rented a car. Apparently, they went from Georgia to Florida, where they went to play, quote unquote, but they were there less than 12 hours. And when they came back from Georgia, they went I-10 over to Louisiana. They went north on I-49 until they hit Shreveport, where they then continued their trek west on I-20, where they got into Texas. And just before they got to Fort Worth, well, you know who got them? The good old Texas Rangers, right? Well, the Texas Rangers said, they were just acting suspicious. Now, we don't really know what they did that was suspicious, but, you kind of get the idea that someone might have been tracking them, correct? And so they pull them over. They've now joined forces together, even though they entered the country about 6 months apart. They get together, they're in this rental car, and the cops get them and they say, no, 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 we can't speak English. We need an interpreter. So the cops hold them on the side of the road as they look everywhere for the proper type of interpreter. And in the meantime, they call the drug dogs because they're acting strange and funny. And they think, well, maybe they're on drugs since they're acting so nervous and upset. And the drug dogs don't exactly make a good, solid hit. However, they take a great deal of interest in the driver's side door. And finally, one Texas Ranger looks at the other Texas Ranger and says, you know, I do believe these dogs may smell something a little fishy. And at that point, they began to take the driver's side door and seat apart, where they commenced to find $250,000 in gold bullion. Gold bullion, by the way, that was not on the airplane that they flew on and went through immigration. So the big question now here in Texas, they're obviously being held without bail. The big question is, exactly where did you get the gold? Like, where did you come up with the gold? And what did you have to do to get $250,000 of raw, pure, buttery, sweet gold? And you know what they said at that question? It's not ours. You can have it. You can have the gold. If you'll just let us go, y'all keep the gold. We're going to go back to Texas, back to Mexico, back to Hong Kong, back to China. You just keep the $250K. It's okay. And of course, Texas Ranger said, no, I don't think so. We want to know where you got it. So at this point today, they're not talking. They don't. There's no. The last story was someone asked us to take it to Dallas. That's the last. So now one of them is saying point blank, don't know. I've never seen that gold. I don't know anything about it. But the other one said, oh, well, you know, there was a man, but he's a stranger and I didn't know him. And he wanted us to drive it here. So it is quite interesting, right? Because there's got to be an infrastructure around them. For example, how do you rent a car if you have no credit card or driver's license? You can't. So who rented the car for them? So that's you know. So it's very interesting that we have these two odd, curious, big money or assassination related events involving a Pakistani and two Chinese nationals. It kind of looks like the $250 in gold may have been a part of the assassination money payoff, perhaps. So, but they do have them all in jail, or the Department of Justice just arrested some poor old patsy, and they're going to tell us that the Pakistani, his name is Merchant, that Merchant is I think it's Asiri Merchant, that he's the one that single-handedly came up with the plan to assassinate Trump, all on his own, and that he recruited the skinny little anorexic 20-year-old cafeteria worker who was a genius with a firearm. So who knows at this point? We're living in a very curious world. The real shooter was Mayorkas and Ray. I did not say that. Do y'all hear me? Everybody that's listening? I didn't say that. It was one of my side chat members that said that. I just read their words. Peanuts and chicken feed. Those silly, crazy tourists. They just get so wild and crazy when they get to the United States. Maybe they've been down on Bourbon Street. Goldfinger. There you go. believe it or not, $250,000 in gold. That's not a big heavy package. You know what I mean? I mean, it was a manageable amount. I'm sure I could have put it in my makeup bag. No, I'm kidding. It wasn't that small. I think they had a 10-ounce bar. Let me try to remember. Oh, I can't remember it. There was some it was different denominations. There was a bigger bar, it was like 10 ounce. Maybe there was there a half a pound? I don't remember. Let me see if I can. Aha, here. I got it right here. I'm a professional YouTuber. Here we go. Y'all want to know what they had? That it was in a bag located behind the driver's seat on the floorboard, where officials found multiple pieces of gold bullion estimated to be $250,000. They had 7 1-ounce packaged 999.9 purity gold bars. That's the good stuff. They had 3 5-gram packages. That's little, itty bitty. They had 20 squares of 1 gram, itty bitty, and then 8 big ass 10-ounce bars. Those are big. 10 ounces is I don't mean big in mass, but like it would fit from your fingertip to your palm. It would fit on your hand. But that's 25,000. 1 bar is $25,000. One 10-ounce bar would be $25,000, and they had 8 of them. It's pretty chunky lot of gold. Little bit of retirement money, right? All right. Our goldsmiths can trace the origin. Yeah, if they're sealed, if the bar is intact, and they happen to get caught, sorry, I don't buy it. So Captain Kirk says, well, maybe it was actually $500,000 of gold when they first caught up with them, and it magically turned to $250,000. Isn't that right, Captain? Are you allowed to live stream the debates? Sure. Yes, ma'am, Vicki. The Patsy drove a red Hyundai and a white van at the same time. I think his mom drives a red Hyundai, right? No, and there was also a bicycle, Deep Red State. Don't forget the bicycle with the backpack. That was there. And don't forget, we have a car that was passing by that captured Crooks walking toward the AGR building. He wouldn't even drive it. It's some funny business. His mother is legally blind. Yeah, but there's a lot of legally blind people that have glasses and can see. Anyone check Menendez's jacket pockets and shoes to see if anything is missing? That is the funniest story to me. I know I have a vivid imagination, but I just keep seeing this poor, simple guy who gets roped into this corrupt, terrible setting, and they're throwing so much money at him that he doesn't have a plan. He doesn't know what he's going to do with it. And so it just turns into like this clown-like comedy of errors where he and his wife are just shoved. I mean, they found money in the walls of the house. It's crazy. It's a crazy story. Crazy story. The bicycle and the luggage were cleared. Okay, see, I hadn't heard that. It belonged to a guy who was biking to different rallies. Thank you, Keister. Thank you. Don't forget, he walked 1,000 miles with a 100-foot ladder. Wasn't that funny too? Sunset gazing, the big. It was like ladder gate, wasn't it? That's kind of a good word. It was like ladder gate. There were all these arguments about no, the ladder was 5 feet tall. No, it was a 35-foot ladder. Oh, Tim Walz said he would do a 35-foot ladder so that he could get the illegals to come in over Donald Trump's wall. That if Donald Trump builds a wall that's 20 feet high, he's going to buy Tim Walz, the VP pick for Kamala. He's going to buy a bunch of 35-foot ladders to keep on the Mexico side so the illegals can climb over the fence into the country. He said that. Like, that's a real thing. Is that not hard to understand? I think it's terrible. I know people that are following the legal system to get here, and it's taking them 5-6 years. It's terrible. It's really terrible. Oh, did we have a golf cart? Oh, maybe we had. Oh, we did have a golf cart, didn't we? We had a golf cart where the guy was riding around with 2 pictures of a dead guy or 2 dead guys. Thank you, Tim D. I had forgotten about the golf cart. Yes, that's exactly right. You got to listen to that clip, Captain Kirk. You won't believe it. He just seems so out of touch. I can't even talk about it. I'll get up on my soapbox, and right now Diane is holding my soapbox, and she's got a whip, and she says if I try to take it from her, she's going to hit me. So I got to leave the soapbox alone. Tampon Tim. I thought he used his spidey skills to scale a pipe on the side of the building. No, I think they decided that now I happen to think that the 5-foot ladder was there before the rally began. That's what the video looks like to me. But there is another place that he could have jumped up on a big commercial air conditioner, then jumped up on a roof, like a roof for the walkway, and then get up on the roof. So there were 2 different ways to get up. I'd walk a mile for a camel. Charles Heald, you are aging yourself. The walk a mile for a camel is older than the Marlboro Man, Charles. You think it's for votes? Well, okay, so that brings up another point about Walz. Walz actually signed an executive order giving illegals, they can get a driver's license in Minnesota. He would like everyone in the United States, illegal or not, to be able to get a driver's license. But if you're an illegal and you come into Minnesota, you can get a driver's license. Keep in mind, there were more than likely foreign operatives at the rally, spoilers, giving out false information. I do think that I do think there's plenty of evidence that there were supposed eyewitnesses that might have just been planted, because we've got so many stories that are incompatible. Like, you got one guy who says, I saw him, he had a rifle, hanging on a strap, right? Hanging on his back. But you can clearly see the firearm. It does not have a strap. It does not. So it couldn't have been hanging off his back on a strap. So I would agree with Martin that either the firearm was stored ahead of time, it was already up there, or it was a collapsible and it fit into his backpack. But one group says they saw the guy with the backpack. The other group says they saw him with a gun. So that right there doesn't match. They say he drove the van and it has explosives in it, but we have a guy driving past the rally whose car camera picks him up walking, and he's not on a bicycle. He's not carrying anything. So there's plenty of conflicting statements, but that's common with eyewitnesses. That's not unusual. Shatner's on adrenochrome. And given all she's got, Captain. Remember, there's a door upstairs that opens onto the roof, which makes it very interesting. This picture that we're looking at of clearly a military man, correct? Makes that all the more interesting. I can see where maybe they notice, oh shit, he's got a gun. They're watching him on this rooftop and they're thinking, what's this crazy little skinny kid doing up here? And then they realize, oh my God, he does have a gun. And this guy right here goes tearing out the door, running as fast as he can to get to him and stop him. And something went wrong. But that's him. That's the dude right there that we see running. He got it. He's definitely militarized police or something. Oh, that's interesting, Angel. Yeah. Friends were kind of odd. Tim Dillian makes a funny joke about how his friends sounded like they were reading from a script. It almost makes you wonder, doesn't it? I mean, who will ever forget the news people standing out in the wind in the hurricane, like, oh, the wind's blowing them around so hard, and behind them you see these three little teenage boys walking along having a great time, no wind, no problem, right? Or my favorite one was it Anderson Cooper standing in the water up to his armpits, right? He's standing in the water up to his armpits talking about how bad the flooding is. And then when they pan out, somebody put the full video out. And when you pan out, he was actually put himself down in a ditch. So don't think that mainstream media is not above tricking us. They absolutely will trick us. But not Reed Timmer, damn it. Reed Timmer's the bomb. He's awesome. Nobody, they supposedly, no one has found Maxwell Urich. And that's where all the investigative journalists, they are looking for Maxwell. That's all. They just want to know, where in the world is Maxwell Urich? Yeah, it's very interesting. All right, folks, I think I'm going to call it. It's an hour and 48 minutes. The real main part of this whole video, in fact, was the beginning where I showed this picture. I think it's disturbing. I think it's infuriating that we're having a government that's not willing to tell us the reality and the truth about what happened that day. And I think it's important for everybody to share it everywhere. I think it matters. So I had two versions that I showed. I showed that one, and then I showed this one. And other than that, I think I'm done. You guys are awesome. Thank y'all for being here. Please, please, please hit the thumbs up before you leave. Also, I hope you'll subscribe so that you'll know the next time that I go live. I know I won't be live before at least Saturday because I work a real job, damn it. All right. Got to bring home the bacon. All right, everybody. Thank you. Captain Kurt, thank you for being here. I watched your show. Yes. I found you through Church Squad, right? All right. See y'all later. Y'all have a good evening.